Always great catching up with my next guest, Geoff Neal, who's got another big fight. He's always in big fights. This time he's taking on Ian Garry, UFC 292, August 19th. Geoff, what's going on, man? How are you?
I'm good, man. How you doing?
Doing great. First, how was the weekend? How was Father's Day? I know we're a couple days removed, but how did everything go?
Everything went good. Just went out to eat with my daughter. I have a newborn now too, a little son named Noah.
Oh, do you? Awesome, man. Congrats.
Yeah.
When did that happen?
March 19th, I think. Something like that.
Okay. So after your last fight, interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think so. Yeah. No, May 19th. I'm tripping. Yeah, May 19th. March, same thing. But yeah, he's 3 months old right now.
That's cool, man. That's great. And people who don't know, you and your dad have the same name, and we talked about this earlier in our interviews that people kept trying to message him thinking it was you, right?
Yeah. And I almost named him Geoff too, but I was like, actually, no, I'm not going to have him go through the same trouble I went through. Give him his own name.
Fair enough, man. Let's talk about Ian Garry, man. Were you expecting this type of fight? What was your reaction when you heard that you were going to be potentially fighting him next?
I wasn't expecting it. I knew I always felt like I was going to have to fight him one day. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? He's just one of those fighters that like he's pretty good. So like, you know what I mean? It was one of those things that was going to be inevitable. But my coach brought up his name, and I was just like, yeah, because I'm not going to sit around and wait for anybody else. And I hate how people hold up the division. You know what I mean? Like it's my job. You know what I mean? I'm here to fight people. So Ian Garry got called up, so I'm gonna fight him.
Yeah, and have you had any Ian Garry fans, message you on social media? Because he's like, they think he's like the next McGregor. I'm sure he's got, a lot of fans, passionate about this fight, so to speak.
No, it's not like Shavkat fans, Joe. Because once I got the Shavkat fight, I had fucking Kazakhstanian flags all over my page. But his fans are pretty chill. His fans aren't being dickheads yet.
Okay, let's quickly go back to that last fight at UFC 285. I know it's never fun to talk about a loss, but listen, I want to preface this by saying I'm asking you the question. There's no excuses, but I know you missed weight. You never miss weight in your fights. I know there was an issue. What happened for people who might not know? Because I do think it's important. And again, you're not making an excuse here. Yeah,
pretty much. It was the doctor had to shut me down. I don't want to disclose too much because I don't know, like, you know what I mean.
Yeah, no, for sure. Just kind of give us like a general. There was an issue though going in that caused you to miss weight.
I could not continue to cut weight. Right. You know what I mean? The doctor shut me down. And was like, you don't need to cut any more weight. And it was up to Shavkat's camp to accept the fight. I was 3 pounds over, and I just physically couldn't cut anymore. And the UFC doctor said, you're not cutting any more weight. And it was just pretty much up to that because they could have easily just said no to the fight, but they accepted the fight, and I went in there and fought.
And just to clear, again, we're not going into too much detail here, but it wasn't an issue of you like not being disciplined on the weight cut. There was an actual medical issue that was my understanding as to why you had trouble making weight. Like it wasn't like, oh, I ran out of time to cut weight. There was actually an issue there, right? You don't have to say what it is, but I just want to clear that up because you know how fans are. They're like, oh, this guy's lazy, couldn't make the weight, or even worse, Jeff's scared to fight Shavkat. I'm sure you heard that as well. That's why he missed weight. He's throwing the fight. Did you hear that stuff?
I heard that, and they said, I missed weight on purpose so I could have a weight advantage.
Yeah, it's like, why would you of all fight? I mean, it's just insane talk here because again, you've never missed weight in the UFC, right?
Yeah, I never missed weight ever. You know what I mean? In my 13 years fighting, that was like my first time missing weight. You know, and I felt bad for missing weight. It's embarrassing to miss weight in my eyes, but that's just not going to happen again. Yeah,
no, absolutely, and looking back on that fight, again, you're fighting one of the toughest guys in the division in Shavkat Rakhmonov. What did you learn the most from that fight?
Just, you know what I mean? Not to take anybody lightly. You know what I mean? I think I took him a little too lightly. I didn't, just because everybody was hyping him up so much, it made me not believe the hype. You know what I mean? I was just like, fuck that. Like, he's not that good. You know what I mean? He actually sucks, And I should have thought about it a little bit different. I should have took him way more serious than I took him. Because he was a serious dude, you know what I mean? He wasn't what I thought he was going to be. So I learned to just, every fight, everybody in UFC is dangerous. You know what I mean? We're all in the UFC. You know what I mean? That means we're the best fighters in the world. So it's kind of stupid to take anybody lightly.
Were you surprised he finished you? Because no one's finished you in the UFC before.
No, it was surprising how he did it. Like I was not expecting that. And you know what's crazy about it? He finished me in the same way that I finished my first UFC fight.
That's right. Yes, I forgot about that. Yeah, that's true.
It was kind of the same way, kind of like you know what I mean, hunched over, like kind of on the back and just like snatched it up. It was almost the same exact way.
Yeah. Did the weight cut miss throw you off at all in the fight? Did you feel like, or you know, like kind of looking back now?
You know what I mean? I can say I can make I can say a million one things about it, but he was just a better man that night. You know, yeah. I'm just gonna chalk it up to that.
Well said.
Yeah, just next time I got to take it more serious, and that shit won't happen again.
Are you surprised he's not being talked about in the title talks? You know, we hear about Bilal and Colby and all these names, but Shavkat hasn't lost a single fight. He's finished a lot of fighters, including yourself, who, you know, very highly ranked. Are you surprised there's not more talk about him?
Yeah, I don't even pay attention to none of that, honestly, but there should be talk. I mean, he needs at least one more fight before I think one more fight, then there could be some title talk, you know? Like I feel like he still needs one more fight.
Well, I think the fight they should make, and again, it's not our job to be the matchmakers here, but I think him and Usman's the fight. I know they do train a bit together at Killcliff, but that seems like an obvious fight. If Usman wins, he's right back in the saddle with the title picture. Shavkat, you know, fights a former champion. I think that's the fight to make, and no one's talking about it. They're talking about Khamzat Chimaev. Well, I don't even think he's going to fight at 170 again, you know?
Exactly. I don't know why we're still talking about Khamzat. He might make 170 again. I don't think he wants to. I don't think because he's a big dude, man. That takes a lot of it takes way more effort from him to make 170 than anybody else. So I don't think he's going to fight 170 again. Okay. But yeah, Usman and Shavkat is the fight to make. Something that dropped Kevin Gastelum and Shavkat. Kevin Gastelum agreed to fight Shavkat, so I think that's going to be Shavkat's next fight.
Which I don't think makes any sense, because like Gastelum's he wasn't even highly ranked at middleweight, and now he's coming down. Like, other than keeping active, what does Shavkat really gain from that? Like, if you're looking at the rankings, you're way ahead of Gastelum, right? I would think.
Yeah, but Gastelum does have a name, and you know what I mean.
That's true.
I mean, honestly, I see Gastelum as being the top 10 welterweight when he comes down. Like, that's just me being objectively honest about it. Like,
that's why I'm asking you. Yeah.
Yeah. So it might do something. It just depends on you know what I mean, how the fight goes. Like if Shavkat goes in there and starches Gastelum in the first round, then I think he'll be in the title talk after that.
And just last question on Shavkat, and this isn't the Shavkat show by any means, but he is obviously a big fighter in the weight class. Do you think he'll become a UFC champion? You were in there in the cage with him. Do you see that potential in him?
I mean, he might. I don't know. I feel like I'm gonna bounce back, and we'll probably meet again for like a title contention fight. You know.
There you go. Okay. Well, we'll see what happens. Well, first you got to take on Ian Garry. Just looking at his fights, obviously we know he's got great knockout power. We saw that in the fight with Daniel Rodriguez. Stylistically, how are you looking at this fight?
It's a weird one. Not a weird one, but he's just a taller fighter. You know what I mean? So it's going to be me trying to get on the inside and do my work, and he's going to be trying to manage the distance, and whoever could dictate their game plan is going to win the fight.
Do you bring in guys that are a little bit taller for this camp just to prepare for that? Because you fought tall guys before, like Neil Magny's pretty tall, right?
Yeah, and that was a different fight because Neil wasn't trying to strike. Yeah, most of the time he was trying to grab. So, but Ian's going to be trying to strike the whole time, I assume. But I don't got to bring in taller guys because I got Kennedy, I got Ryan Spann, and there's other tall guys. You know, granted they're bigger. Yeah. But that just makes it even more like, you know what I mean, training more intense because I got to watch out for their power because they, even with like 16-ounce gloves, those motherfuckers hit hard.
Who else are you getting to work with? You mentioned those names there. Kennedy, who's got a fight coming up, big fight against Dustin Jacoby. You've got Ryan Spann. You've got, you know, these are light heavyweights, by the way, which is just crazy that you work with them, which I understand too. Anyone else you getting to work with over there? Who else you putting the work in with? I'm
putting to work. We got a couple new dudes at the gym. We got Kyle Crutchmer and Jacoby Smith. They came from AKA. They trained with Khabib and Daniel, and they were clutch because they helped me for the Shavkat fight with my wrestling. Probably why I didn't get taken down. And then got Ramiz, got Julius Holmes. The same crew. Plus those two that I named, Kyle Crutchmer and Jacoby Smith.
And what did you make? I know he's still part of your team. Diego Ferreira getting that big win, I think it was a couple weeks ago. How cool was that? Because I know Diego's been through a lot, right, to get back in there. Yeah,
that was cool. And it was bittersweet because I like Michael Johnson, you know?
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah, so just seeing him like go out like that, man. But you know what I mean? That's my teammate. So, I mean, good props to my dude Diego. Hell yeah.
There you go. I thought you were going to do the Terrell Owens. That's my teammate there. That quote, you know, that one where he started crying anyways. They probably don't get the reference. But what did you make of Ian's last fight against Daniel Rodriguez? I talked about it there. You know, Sean Strickland came out and basically said like he didn't think Rodriguez trained at all for that fight. Do you think that was the case, or do you think that Gary's just that good and, you know, he's got that type of power that can put anyone out?
I don't know. Hey, August 19th, we're going to find out. Yeah. You know what I mean? I'm not Danny Rodriguez. You know what I mean? So there's that. But we'll see August 19th if he's as good as he say he is. Like, you know what I mean? I'm here to test him. We'll see. Another undefeated fighter. Let's see.
Let's go. Your corner, obviously, Coach Safe will be there with you. Who else is making the trip with you to on that card?
I'm my striking coach, Crew Kasib, and then I don't know who's going to be the other corner. It just depends on who I want to bring as far as like, you know what I mean? Like I usually bring like Coach Safe, then my striking coach, and then I bring like a body, like one of my teammates, you know what I mean? So to help me warm up. So I don't know who I'm going to bring yet. I might bring Uriah Hall for this one.
Oh, cool. Okay, that's good. Yeah, definitely.
I've been training with him too.
Yeah, he's an absolute beast. How's this fight playing out August 19th? It's only 3 rounds. I kind of wish this was 5. It'd be really interesting.
Yeah, I feel like this should be a 5. Like, just like, you know what I mean? Given his style, it's going to take a while. Maybe. Who knows? He might be aggressive. But like I said, it plays out like I always say it's going to play out. Either going to be a quick finish or a 3-round war. That's how most of my fights go. So we're going to see.
Do you sort of take note of the fact that he does get hit a lot? Like Keenan Song hit him in that fight. He does take a bit of damage, and that's something you can exploit because you've got the knockout power, Geoff. We've seen it in fights, especially against like Mike Perry and so many other fighters you competed against. Yeah,
and like I said, we'll see. I really haven't watched too much on him yet because I'm more just focused on getting in my routine and getting into the camp before I start focus on like the game plan. But I've heard he gets hit a lot. And it doesn't matter, you know what I mean? It's a fight, you know. Like Shakvhat got hit a lot. I used to see Shakvhat, like he takes a lot of damage, but that motherfucker had a shin from hell. So we'll see how it plays out. If you can take my punches, then we'll see how it goes.
We talked about it there. You're always in big fights. Ian Garry's got a lot of hype though, right? Undefeated, all these different things. They're calling him the next McGregor. Where does a win put you? Because I feel like it's kind of like the last fight where if you get a win, there's probably a big upside here, you know?
Yeah, I don't know where it's going to put me. We'll see because the position I'm at, like the ranking I'm at, like I don't know if I'm going to move up in the ranking. You know what I mean? I don't know if it's going to do anything. I might get more fans. You know what I mean? If anything, but and the division is pretty kind of like slow moving right now. So we'll see where it goes.
And your contract, is this still the same contract? Or you want a new one now with this fight? I was curious about that.
I'm on the same one that I signed with because I signed one right before the Vicente fight.
Oh, okay. So this is what? So that was what, 2 fights ago? So you're probably on, this is number 3 on that contract, right? I think.
That contract, yeah.
That's good though. Hey, listen, you finished Ian Garry. That's going to look good at the negotiating table, right? So
probably get a new contract before I finish it out.
Yeah, well, that's cool, man. So a lot there, which is great. And then at the top of your division, we don't really know what's going on. Dana White has said that Colby's getting the next title shot, but nothing's been booked yet. What do you make of that when Bilal, guy you fought, is undefeated and just beat Gilbert Burns? What do you think of that?
I don't know. It's confusing, man. It's so annoying. Like I just wish about this fucking fight. It's our job to fight, and it's like I know there's like money, viewers, and all that shit, but it's our job to fight. Motherfuckers just want to like run around. Bilal should be fighting for a title, I think. You know what I mean? I think he's deserved it. I think he's earned it. But in due time, he might get there. You know what I mean? But we'll see how it plays out. I just like I feel like the fight should just make sense. Colby hasn't done nothing to deserve another damn title shot. Like, if I'm being honest, he hasn't done shit. He hasn't fought anybody. Like, let him fight somebody else. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? But I don't know. We'll see.
Okay. Do you think we sort of talked about it earlier? Do you think Khamzat Chimaev comes down to 170 again, or do you think his future's at 85? Because I'm kind of getting the idea that I don't think he's coming back to 170.
I think he might come down to 170, but I feel like he's not going to be able to maintain making the weight cut to 170. I don't think so. It'll be dumb for him to come down, and like he might come down and try to fight for a title, win the title, and then never fight again at 170. You know?
Yeah.
But I think he should just go in his natural weight class and stop fucking around at 170. But we'll see how it plays out.
Have you been watching The Ultimate Fighter at all, or no?
Nah, I don't even watch TV.
What do you make though? Because it looks like Conor's not in the USADA pool. There's, he's supposed to fight Michael Chandler. You figured they would have booked something when that show started, but we've got nothing right now. And now there's all this stuff outside the cage that's going on. Do you think he ever fights again? I'll just ask you point blank.
I don't know, man. I don't know what Conor, man. He's a funny guy. We'll see how it plays out. You mentioned him not being in the USADA pool. That's hilarious. Like, he's on that. Well, Never mind. I ain't gonna make
allegedly or whatever. Yeah, I guess we should say so we don't get in trouble.
An assumption, but we'll see how it plays out.
Yeah, for sure. And back to you, health wise. I know we talk about this almost every fight. You had those health issues years ago. Everything good on that front? Like as far as what you had to deal with a few years ago?
Yeah, I mean, as good as it can be. It's you know what I mean. Every month it's it's getting a little like I'm feeling a little. I'm thinking I'm fully recovered, and every month I'm like, oh shit, I feel better. Like, you know what I mean. So we'll see. I don't know. I'm gonna get some blood work done real soon and see what's missing and get my kidneys checked out again and see if they're rolling on all cylinders and I think I'm in full health.
Well, I was going to say, and I wanted to get your opinion on this actually, because I think if you looked at your fight against Vicente Luque and even the fight with Shavkat, I know you didn't win that one, but I think there was a noticeable difference between those fights and say like the Wonder Boy fight and the Magny fight, where like you just looked like the old Geoff, and I think a lot of that was the health stuff. Do you think there's any truth to that? I just as an observer, you're the guy who actually fights in there, though. I was curious about that.
For sure, the Wonder Boy fight, I shouldn't have took that fight. I was like a shell of myself in that fight. You know what I mean? Neil Magny, kind of like I had gotten sick. I had gotten food poisoning like the week before, so that might have like played a factor into that one. Like in the Luque fight for sure. Like I felt myself that fight. You know what I mean? I was running on all cylinders. I was on fire that fight. I didn't like my Shavkat fight, just mainly because I lost, and I missed weight. So just gotta, you know what I mean? I gotta bounce back from that and take the lessons I learned from it.
And last question, getting in any gaming this camp, or are you off video games for this camp?
I'm on video games. I'm still the Modern Warfare. I've been playing this new Need for Speed game. I like racing games. I like customizing like cars. Like I have like my little dream cars, and like once I get enough money, I'm gonna get that car and I'm gonna customize it just like that. So been playing that, and yeah, that's about it.
They gotta bring back Pimp My Ride, and then you get everything for free, right? Like Exhibit. Remember that show back in the day?
I remember that show back in the day. I've read things about it, like where they used to they'll pimp your ride out and they'll take like some of the all the shit back. Like they'll put like flat screen TVs in your car, and then once the show is over, they'll fucking take them shits away.
Did they do that? I never heard about that. Is that true?
I've read that it's true. Like I've read it. Like there's like, you know what I mean, people that were in the show, and they were taking pictures and showing like how they like stripped the car back down. They didn't do anything with the engine.
Wow, so Geoff Neal, some breaking news here. I never knew this about Pimp My Ride. That's crazy. That's great. Hey, yeah. Geoff, thanks so much for doing this, man. We're looking forward to it. UFC 292. I know it's a ways away, but glad we could come on here and talk about the matchup. If there's anyone you want to thank before we get out of here, sponsor, social media, you name it, I'll give you the last word.
No, man, just tune into the fight.